Recount. As we near the conclusion of this recount, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the stakeholders, the staff of GCOM, the volunteers, all the political parties, the representatives of the People's Progressive Party Civic, all those persons who played an important role in ensuring that this recount is completed in a very credible manner. As we near the completion of this recount, I'm pleased at the numerous statements, especially by the international community, in relation to the recount itself and their expectations from us as political leaders in moving our country forward. I would just like to go through some of the most recent statements over the last 2 days by various international agencies, organizations, and governments. Let us start with the Bipartisan Congress of the United States, where 5 members of Congress signed a letter to President David Granger. And I quote from a section of that letter: "Your leadership role during the recount process is critical to Guyana's continuous respect for the rule of law, ensuring an internationally recognized declaration of results consistent with the rule of law." So from the Bipartisan Congress of the United States, the letter from the bipartisan members of Congress of the United States, you will see that they allude to a few things. One is that they call on President Granger to show leadership as the recount process comes to an end, in ensuring that the will of the people is respected, the rule of law is respected, and also ensuring that a declaration is made consistent with the rule of law. So it is very clear from that letter to President Granger by the bipartisan members of Congress that they are keen in ensuring there is a smooth transition and in ensuring that the rule of law is respected, and that at the end of this recount process, a declaration based on the results of the recount is made. I would now like to move to a statement, a joint statement by the Ambassador of the United States of America, the British High Commissioner, the Canadian High Commissioner, and the Ambassador of the European Union. And I quote from sections of that statement: As the recount process concludes, it is important for all stakeholders to uphold the integrity of the process and peacefully accept the wishes of the Guyanese people. Here in this joint statement, our international partners are calling upon us not only to ensure that the process is concluded and ensuring that the declaration is made, but for us all to peacefully accept the wishes of the Guyanese people. And this is very important. This is not the wishes of the People's Progressive Party Civic, or the wishes of the APNU-AFC, or the wishes of any political party who contested the elections. The results of the elections is the wishes of the Guyanese people, and it is the wishes of the Guyanese people that must be respected and accepted. So in this letter, in this press release, joint statement, they're calling on us to peacefully accept the results and the wishes of the Guyanese people. And they also went on, and they asked that the new government commit to constitutional reform and reconciliation to ensure every Guyanese citizen benefit. Well, I want to assure you, as your next president and as the leader of the next government, that that government is committed, as we have said in our manifesto, to constitutional reform and meaningful constitutional reform, ensuring that all Guyanese, all segments of our population are consulted and included in the process of constitutional reform. But much more than this. This period, we have learned so much from this period. Electoral reforms that are needed, restructuring of the Elections Commission. These are all things that must occupy the agenda of all of us collectively, not only the government or the People's Progressive Party Civic, but I look forward for a great partnership among all political parties, civil society, and all citizens of Guyana in ensuring that we address these key issues in reforming and transforming our country. Reconciliation is important for us to get together, important for us to understand that Guyana belongs to all of us, and that as your government, we have a responsibility not only to the supporters of the People's Progressive Party Civic, but to all Guyanese, regardless of who you supported. And these are commitments that we have made in our manifesto and throughout the campaign. And we are surely going to stick by those commitments. I now wish to look at the EU final report. There has been much statements, especially by, I would say, a small segment of our political landscape who they are trying desperately to cast aspirations and doubt. But let us look at the EU final report, and I want to address just a few issues in the EU final report. Voting, for example. This is what they said about voting. Voting was well managed and largely peaceful. Polling procedures were properly followed. Counting was conducted in a transparent manner. However, the issue came at tabulation. After a transparent, largely uncontested tabulation was completed, in most regions, the process was abruptly derailed into chaos and confusion amidst obstruction tactics by election officials in a decisive region of Region Number 4. Not obstructive tactics of the People's Progressive Party Civic, but election officials. That aside, we moved forward into a recount that has confirmed what the SOPs we have shared publicly would have stated, leading to a victory for the People's Progressive Party Civic, and that is a victory for all Guyana. So that is the EU final report. You will note that I'm quoting the various reports and independent individuals and organizations, internationally recognized. So this is not what I am saying, or a General Secretary is saying, or Joe Harmon is saying. This is an independent report and statement by independent agency. Then we have the OAS, the Organization of American States, and this is what they said. Despite, and this is in relation to the recount, despite some inconsistencies in the electoral materials reviewed during the recount, as is normally the case in any electoral process, the OAS mission has no reason to doubt that the results emanating from the recount will be credible. The results emanating from the recount will be credible. I want to stress this. The case, despite some inconsistencies in the electoral materials reviewed during the recount, as is normally the case in any electoral process, the OAS mission has no reason to doubt the results emanating from the recount. And they went further to say that will be credible. What do they expect? A declaration based on these results will lead to the installation of a legitimate government. So the OAS has made it very clear about the credibility of the recount, about their observation, and their expectation that a declaration based on the results of the recount will lead to the installation of a legitimate government. Then I wish to turn to Michael Kozak in a tweet, I think, sometime last night. And this is what he had to say. We look to President Granger and Opposition Leader Jagdeo to honor the commitment to respect the legitimate recount results. And I want to assure all Guyanese that as we close up on this recount, the PPP has been consistent in saying that we will honor the results of a credible recount. The recount has shown nothing different from what we shared with the Guyanese people. The recount has set the truth free. The recount has clarified in the minds of many Guyanese what we would have shared with them since March the 4th. It is time for us to move forward. It is time for us to embrace the results of these elections and build a Guyana we will all love. He went on to say, that is Michael Kozak, the U.S. will support these leaders and institutions, and institutions that adhere to Guyana's democratic principles and ensure the voice and will of the people is heard. And the voice and the will of the people can only be heard if we respect the ballots, if we respect the results and outcome of the elections of March the 2nd. And we are confident that all of Guyana, we are ready to respect and honor those results, and we are ready to act in the best interests of our country. As of yesterday, 2,173 boxes would have been recounted. That is, completed boxes number 2,173. The boxes that remain as of yesterday total 166. Boxes where tabulation would have been completed, or boxes in which the votes have already been tabulated or counted, number 2,153. Remaining boxes to be tabulated, number 186. So as of yesterday, with 2,153 boxes tabulated and 2,173 boxes counted, the PPP lead all other parties. Well, the PPP lead the APNU AFC by 16,731 votes. 16,731 votes. As of 2 p.m. today, 52 boxes would have been completed. That is, the recount for 52 boxes would have been completed. Out of that 52 boxes, when you analyze the SOR, you would see that the results is not changing that lead. So, as the PPP would have outlined since March the 4th, consistent with the SOPs, we project that the PPPC will win the March 2nd, 2020 elections with well over 15,000 votes. That is the projection to the end of the recount. In relation to the end of the recount, many are asking on social media whether it will continue until Monday. We have been assured that the containers will be open until 6 p.m. today to allow for more boxes to be counted. And tomorrow, GCOM and the team will count to the conclusion of the recount. That is to say, that the recount will be completed tomorrow, Sunday. And the tabulation will then take a day or two more. So, I want to assure all Guyanese that we remain committed to the process of governing in a manner in which all of us will feel a part of. Now, there are a lot of noise this morning on social media, especially by Joe Harmon, speaking about documents omitted from ballot boxes. No, he didn't say omitted, he said missing. There is no missing documents. As is confirmed on social media and by GCOM officials themselves, the DRO and POs were following late instructions from GCOM itself. And those documents were submitted to the DROs in District Number 4. But I want to assure that the ballots for all those stations were secured in the ballot boxes. We have the SOPs for those stations, like all other stakeholders, from the count on election night, and now we will have the SORs. And they're largely consistent with each other. I want to say, fellow Guyanese, that this is a victory for all of Guyana. To our supporters, no doubt you played an important and enormous role in securing this victory for Guyana. To our leaders, activists, volunteers and supporters, and their families, we remain extremely grateful for your work, your commitment, your dedication, your sacrifices, and we will not disappoint you or Guyana. To all stakeholders, civil society, the private sector, regional chambers, individuals, political parties and leaders, religious leaders, and all patriotic Guyanese, here and in the diaspora, your commitment, strength of character, and unwavering stance for democracy cannot and will never be overstated. Thank you for standing up for Guyana. Thank you for standing up for democracy. Thank you for standing up for the rule of law. To our regional partners, sister CARICOM states, CARICOM, the media, locally, regionally, and internationally, and the CARICOM Observer Team, Guyana is grateful for your participation and your role in safeguarding our democracy. As we near the end of this recount process, it is critical that you continue to provide oversight, that you continue to provide that confidence as we prepare for a declaration of the votes counted during this recount, and eventually the transition to a legitimate government voted by the will of the people on March the 2nd. To our sister CARICOM states, our regional partners, local, regional, and international media, we thank you for your commitment. We thank you for your role, for your time, at a time when globally we are facing a pandemic that see no boundaries. You still committed yourself to be here. To the international community, especially the US, the UK, the European Union, Canada, the OAS, and Commonwealth. Your commitment has demonstrated the importance of living in a global village. Indeed, democracy, good governance, and the rule of law are critical attributes of any free society. As your next government, we are deeply grateful for your keen and demonstrated interest in Guyana, and look forward towards working closely with you in building a stronger country, partnering with you and playing our role in lending our support wherever democracy is attacked and the right of the people are suppressed. Democracy and the rights of people are too important for us to ignore. And we would like to commit to do our bit in supporting our international partners wherever democracy is attacked and the rights of the people is trampled upon. I wish to assure those of our fellow Guyanese who did not support us that as your new government takes office, the elections must be behind us. Excuse me. The elections must be behind us, and we must all put our shoulders together and push forward. This is not the time for divisive talks. This is not the time for hate speeches. This is not the time for selfish actions. This is a time for selfless action. This is a time for true leadership. This is a time to bridge the divide. This is a time to come together. The elections are now soon going to be behind us. And our task is to move forward as a people and as a country in a unified way, bounded together by a common agenda of development and progress, bounded together in the true Guyanese spirit. One people, one nation, one destiny. We must all commit to doing our bit in securing a better Guyana. A Guyana in which all of us must be proud of. As a government, we are ready to partner with every Guyanese in creating that Guyana. We must all be proud. We must all be proud and feel a part of the Guyana we want to create. This is not the time to disengage, but this is the time to put our differences aside and think positively about what is best for our country. There is no room for division, hate, or discrimination. The singular vision is that we must be unified. It is through our collective efforts that our country will move forward. And I'm convinced we can do this together. I'm convinced we can be the best keeper for each other. I'm convinced we can reach beyond our differences and embrace each other as true Guyanese. The elections must be behind us. There is no political wall dividing us. No fence dividing us. But we must be united in purpose, united in vision, united in the true Guyanese spirit, united for our country, united for our children, and united for our future. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Fellow Guyanese, God bless you. Stay safe. And I look forward to working with you, every Guyanese, as we build a stronger tomorrow together. Thank you.